Welcome back to the channel, Helldivers. Command has given us the order to hold the planets Andar and Astaroth Prime. It's not the most glorious work, but gosh darn it, we'll get the job done. Now, this loadout is going to be new player friendly, and I'll throw in some options for you Helldivers 2 vets. But overall, I actually think the Illuminate are the easiest faction to fight in Helldivers 2. So with a little bit of knowledge, no matter what you decide to run, I think you're going to find success. Now, starting off with the equipment section, let's talk about your primary weapon, because I think anything you choose here is going to be completely fine. So a light penetration weapon, a medium penetration weapon, explosive, lasers, really all of them are highly effective against the squids. But if you want my strongest recommendations from the base warbond, I would take either one of the diligence rifles, or even something like the Scorcher. Now, my personal favorite against the Illuminate is the Deadeye. This weapon you have to be patient with, but it is both powerful and it's precise, and it puts in a lot of work against the squids. But you'll see once we get to the stratagem section, that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting for this loadout. So this equipment section here is essentially up to you and what you're most comfortable with. And the same goes for your secondary. Now, if you have something like the grenade pistol, that would probably be my highest recommendation, or anything that's actually medium penetration, because some of the higher tier enemies for the squids, like the harvester, can be taken down by a medium pen weapon if you just shoot it in the leg joints. So something like the verdict, if you have that. But if you only have like the redeemer or the peacemaker, those are going to do completely fine, because those can take out all of the overseers, and of course all of the boatless as well, the zombies. And actually, light penetrations can take out the harvester too if you aim for the center of the eye, but in my opinion, it's much easier to shoot the leg joint than it is to shoot the center of that eye. Now, when it comes to your grenade, I would take a throwable that lets you use it 4 times. So something like the base grenade, or even the pyrotech that lets you throw it 6 times. But I would stay away from something like the thermite that only has 3 charges, because this is going to be a good way for us to take out those parked warp ships. But if you do have that detonation warbond, and you are taking the grenade pistol sidearm, in that case, I do highly recommend taking the thermite. And for you Helldivers that have a lot of the warbonds on lock, I highly recommend the gas grenade. It is so good against the squids. But other than that, you just want a throwable with a good grenade economy. Next up, we have our armor, and as always, dress to impress, and that's my only advice. Look the way you want, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's how you look while you're doing it. Huh? And I guess we'll talk about the boosters before we get to the stratagem section. Vitality, optimization, stamina. These are just 3 of the go-tos, but most importantly, fill as your team needs. Now, stratagems, kill everything that's not human. Damn, we just got Pocahontas up in this bitch. Anywho, moving on to our stratagem weapon, my first recommendation is going to be the regular machine gun. I think this is the first stratagem weapon you unlock, and this thing absolutely shreds through all of the Illuminated forces, and it is just fantastic. But if you want a little bit more mobility, I would take the stalwart. That's actually really good against the squids. And hell, if you want the beefier machine gun, the heavy machine gun, that can work here too. Any of these machine guns are going to be your workhorse weapon. Well, maybe not the heavy machine gun, but the other 2 absolutely are, where you're going to be able to use this weapon 90% of the time. And the other 10% is just because you're going to have to reload eventually. Now, for our second stratagem pick, we're going to put something in our backpack slot. Obviously, the supply backpack, this is probably my highest recommendation, but when you are fighting the squid forces, they're going to be either on a regular city map or a mega city map. And those 2 locations have plenty of ammunition that is lying about. So if you feel like you can get away with not taking the supply backpack, I would take one of the guard dogs, or heck, maybe even one of the jump packs, but only if you're trying to impress me as a jump diver. Now, for your third stratagem slot, I would either take the orbital gas strike or the orbital Gatling barrage. Either one of these stratagems are going to lock down an area, either for a squid patrol or for a dropship reinforcement. And for our last stratagem pick, we're going with the machine gun. I'm just kidding. We've done enough sentries. Let's take the Eagle Strafe and Run. This thing's going to have plenty of charges for you to spam. And because we're on those city maps, you're going to have an easy time bottlenecking or funneling the enemy forces towards you. And then just call down your Strafe and Run and watch it go. And you know, the rest is history. So when it comes to an overview with this loadout and how it performs against the squids, really simple. Your machine gun is going to be your workhorse weapon. You're going to be able to lay on the trigger and just have a good time whenever they have a squid reinforcement ship come in, you throw down either your Gatlin or your gas strike. That is going to do enough crowd control to just sit back there with your machine gun support weapon and just go to town. Your biggest threats are going to be the harvesters, but remember, just aim for the leg joints and keep your head on a swivel for those interceptors. Medium penetrations will take down those ships. As for the flesh mobs, they're a little bit weaker now. Aim for the face, or I guess the many faces, and they should tumble over, no problem. And oh yeah, if you are on those mega city maps, there's a chance you're going to run into a Leviathan. I would just ignore them, honestly. They used to be a big problem in the past, but they have severely been nerfed. But if you just feel the need to kill them, there should be EATs, or maybe borrow a stratagem weapon from one of your dead teammates. Then just aim for the turrets or the fins, and with enough armor-piercing shots, they will go down. Hooray. Hooray. Alright y'all, that's the loadout. Let me know what you think about the Illuminate forces. I already let you know at the beginning of the video, I think they're the easiest faction to fight, and really there are just so many things that are viable against them that if I list them all out, we'd be here for a very long time. But anyways, yep, that's the end of the video. If you made it this far, thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Peace and take care.